This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Tough Talk Tuesday with Heavy Bag Boxing. As always, I'm your host, Robert Alexander. Alongside me is my awesome team. We got the captain, El Capitan, Lucas Biggers. We got the first lady, Shakura A. And Javi, Mr. Always Late, but always on time. All right, enough for the introductions, guys. Let's start off with the first topic. And I want to give y'all some tough questions tonight. Not just go through the regular rigmarole. Let's go ahead and get some tough questions right now. Let's start off with Ismandi Lara. He was successful at defending this weekend and won a decision. Guys, I'm gonna start off with Lucas here. Lucas, at this point in his career, is Lara just the gatekeeper, or is he more than that?
I don't think he's quite there yet. If you're talking about like if he's on the slide, I do think he's starting to slide, but I don't think he's that far down that he's just a gatekeeper. He can definitely still grab a belt. Don't underestimate him, but at the same time, it's hard to kind of judge this last fight against Vendetti. He kind of eased his way through that fight. Vendetti didn't really put up much.
Shakura.
Okay.
Or no, go ahead, Javi, go right into it.
I'm gonna have to agree to disagree right here with Lucas. I think, like I tweeted it before. I think I put it in the chat too. Originally Lara is not what he used to be as far as being in his bicycle, like people say, because of the whole Cuban school and defensive technique. But he's definitely, when you have that type of pedigree that he has and that quality, you might lose a little step on your speed. You might lose a little split second on your punches, on your fast, but that quality is still there. You know what I'm saying? So, like Lucas said, he definitely can hang in there with some top of position and give them a run for the money. But I don't think he's a gatekeeper level yet. He's definitely, he can give anybody of the top 10 in that division problems.
I'm confused. How are you disagreeing? It sounds like we were the same there, right?
I just wanted to say that. But
you just added a little bit extra. You just went a little bit more in depth.
Basically, I just agreed to agree.
That's what it was.
Shakura, what's your take on this?
You know what? He doesn't have the legs he used to. But in a way, I'm kind of glad because it makes Lara a lot more exciting to watch. Being in the pocket, not moving around, engaging. We would have never, ever saw that type of a matchup with him and Hurd, had he been able to use his legs and really outbox him. But because the legs probably were, he could tell a difference, this new style that he's been able to develop, and let's not get it mistaken, like he's developing it very well. So, sometimes when you lose one attribute, you gain another one, or people get to see a different side of you that you really, before you wouldn't have really showcased. Well, now we're getting to showcase, we're getting to see that type of inside game that Lara probably already knew he could do, but never had to because he still had his legs. So for me, I say he's still capable of hanging in there with the big dogs. And you know what? He has a championship title right now, which is the regular super welterweight title. So, I mean, and by no means does he need to go off into the sunset yet. And I'm actually wishing that they would actually have a Lara versus her too. I mean, I'd like to see what that would look like now, because he's a lot more used to that style now.
I agree. And like you said, I think Lara has adapted his style to match his old age. So he has adapted himself. He knows that he don't have the legs, but he's adapted and he can still hang with this new style. And like Sakura said, I mean, I kind of like it. I mean, that fight with her, that was a banger. Yeah, I mean, you're a little bit less of the sweet science, he's not dipping and slipping punches, but honestly, he might have a bigger fan base if this is how he fought.
Yeah, think about it.
Although it's not a smart way to fight.
I mean, think about if Rigondeaux had more of an inside game like that now. I mean, well, now he does because his legs are, fading. But, all those, that stereotype well, it wasn't a stereotype because it was true. His fights did seem a little boring beforehand. I mean, it's only in the last year that we saw him where he's like really ready to engage and have more action in his fights. And he's actually KO'd some people that way. So, I mean, there's something to be said about, you can't move around like you used to when you were younger, but at the same time, you can't move around like you used to. So we see a lot better quality fight.
Yeah, it's true. They have that quality, even though both of them, I would say both of them, you can tell where they're not as fast and quick on their feet like they used to be. So, but they have the pop. They have that solid left hand that if you're not in your A game, it will put you out.
Yeah, so not to get into an argument with any of y'all, but I think Lara is top 2 in the division. I think he's actually a top dog in this sport.
Well, I won't argue that.
Versus who? Charlo?
Any one of them. Actually, I like what you said, Shakira. I want to see him get that rematch with her. Let's not forget that was a barn burner. He took her to the outer limits in that fight, much more than any of us thought he could do and could handle it. If it wasn't for that late knockdown, he would have been in for a draw. But he got hurt later on in the fight, in one of the last rounds in the fight, and that took away the decision, in my opinion. With that win, he could have been up there, and you never know. He could have beat a Rosario. He could beat a Charlo. I think he can compete with any of them in this division. J-Rock, I'll throw in there included. He could have beat J-Rock. Rosario might not have had that opportunity had Lara won against her. So I think he's top 2 in the division, honestly. With that being said, Lucas, where does he go from here? Does he get a title shot? Does he earn a Charlo, the rematch?
Well, a win over Vendetti, hardly is going to earn you a title shot. But in this game of boxing, you don't really earn title shots anyway, as we can tell. I mean, Canelo can just demand them. Some people could get a title shot off a loss. I don't know.
Back to back losses.
So Lara, I mean, who doesn't want to see Lara in a title fight? I mean, yeah, I think he can get one.
Yeah, I hope so. I think it's up to his promoter, his manager, because like Lucas said, you got some privileged fighters that they can choose if they want a title fight or not. Then you got other ones that they still get title fights regardless of their back-to-back losses, and then you have other where the sanctioning bodies rank them high just so they can get title fights. But I guess we get to that part because I wanna write some sanctioning bodies later. So I'm gonna need 5 minutes so I can state my case on that.
5 minutes, wow.
Yeah, I'm kind of writing a little article myself on Canelo and some sanctioning bodies, but.
Oh boy.
Well, we can add that. We can add that into rapid fire there, guys.
Okay, go for that.
I'll add that in. That being said, I'm gonna jump topics real quick because I kind of want to go to friend of the show, is fight. But I want you guys to take on what happened to Alfredo Angulo this weekend. He was upset. Lucas, how bad are you hurting from this upset loss for Angulo?
Real quick, let me go. Clarence says hard Lara 2 going with Lara on this. Hard. I'm not sure what that meant. Okay. I thought you were going to a different one. Sorry, I pulled up the wrong thing. Angulo losing to the last-minute replacement, everybody was acting like super surprised. I mean, Lara's a good fighter, and Angulo hung with him. But Angulo, I mean, he always fights Angulo style. And Angulo's not in the shape that he was when he beat or almost beat Lara. Um, am I super surprised? No, but people are saying he should hang him up, and I don't really think that either. I mean, and if you ask Angulo, I'm sure Angulo would say, that's just how boxing goes sometimes. I don't know. I'm torn. I mean, yeah, obviously you'd love to see Angulo in the ring, but I don't want to keep seeing him take beatings either. I don't know what else to say about it other than that.
No, you're kind of hurt. I can tell you're kind of hurt by it. Javi, my question to you then is, with this being, do you think the last minute replacement, because it really was at the last minute, do you cut him some slack for that?
I kind of do, because like Sakura said, the last minute replacement syndrome or something like that. But that happens, man. Sometimes it happens. You spend 8-10 weeks training for a specific style of fighting, and then everything just changes last minute. So you have to tweak here, tweak there. So some people can adjust, some people cannot. That could have been a factor, but let's be honest here. I think not to take nothing away from the man, but I think we've seen the best days of Angulo. He's definitely a little slower. His chin is still there. That man has some chin. God bless him for that. You know what I'm saying? But as far as like his speed, I think he still has the power, but it's just like it's a slower version of Angulo, which he wasn't ever fast in the beginning, right? And then like I think J Rock said in a tweet, he was like, that Pero Angulo that used to come out with a collar, that was a dangerous fighter. That was a bad move. You know what I'm saying? This Angulo now is like he's a little more chill. He's it's not the same. So I think at this case, the energy of the youth got the best of the experience of the veteran, which Angulo's already a veteran, at this stage of his career.
Shakur, a little bit different question for you, because nobody seems to want to give his opponent any props for this. Everybody seems to be saying Angulo is pretty much done. Did you see anything from his opponent though that kind of surprised you, or that looked the part, looked like he should beat a guy like Angulo?
I mean, Hernandez, he gave it. I mean, he definitely kicked it into another notch. They said that he had been already in training and was just like that alternate, just in case something went awry. I give him credit for us hanging in there, because Angulo he definitely has a chin. I mean, it was kind of like Rock'em Sock'em Robots for a minute, though. I will say that. I didn't see much technique, but I guess styles make fights. So we don't know if he has more to offer, or because those two just decided that they were going to slug it out. Who's the machizo, who got it? So I really enjoyed the fight, but it was about the 6th round. I was like, I wish they would stop this, because Angulo was taking a whole lot, and he was starting to look slower and slower, and I was kind of scared for his safety at that point. And I just feel like, maybe his team is not doing him a good service by continuing to allow him to take these fights at this point. I mean, he looked great against Kid Chocolate, but then tonight we saw a totally different Angulo. And he was starting to look slower, and he was prepared for Truex, remember? So it's not like he was like, oh, let me take it off a little, and not work out as hard because I'm fighting Hernandez, because he didn't really know. He thought he was fighting Truex most of this training camp. The thing with Truex just happened in the last week, so that's how he got that replacement. I would like to see Gonzalez. I could even go as far as saying I would want to see, it's Hernandez, right? I would want to see him again against a different opponent to really gauge if he's someone that we want to see. But I could definitely put him in the category of like an Areola for the middleweight division.
Clarence also says I felt like it threw him off. And it very well may have. I mean, it's not like Angulo comes differently. Let's face it. I mean, Angulo's always Angulo.
Yeah,
Not saying that it's ever a bad thing. I mean, he's always the pressure fighter, and he always comes that way. And a lot of times he does get his man. But for me, the most thing that was drastic in watching it was the speed fall off. I mean, them punches were still powerful, but man, I mean, you had a lot of time to get out of the way.
yeah.
That Gonzalez, he took a lot of like really, really stiff ones, guys, and I was so shocked. And then there was one shot that Hernandez had tried to give him back, and it was like, whoa! And it was like Angulo just looked at him like, and I think to me that had no effect on him whatsoever because it was a monster punch.
Yeah, and that's the scary part. That's the scary part because maybe it didn't have an effect on him at the fight, or he tried to hide it, but it will have an effect after life in boxing.
Yeah,
we don't want to see none of these guys, Exactly. So we don't want to see. I'm the type of fan that I like to see the fighter, get old and with the capacities and everything. I think he takes a lot of shots, and the older he gets, he might be able to take it. But I think the older he gets, the more it will be effective in his afterlife.
Yeah.
But I agree with Clarence wholeheartedly. Truex is a different fighter. He's not going to go toe-to-toe, heads up with you. He's careful. He's calculated in there. He doesn't take a lot of risk. So I absolutely agree with Clarence. I think he was thrown off by the style clash in the matchup. He was prepared for a guy who boxes more. And with you saying the speed not being there, I agree. The speed's not there, but he still has a hell of a chin, and he still has a hell of a heart and a heavy punch. You got to give credit to Hernandez. Hernandez took it all and was the victor that night. I don't know how much better he can get, but he did earn himself the victory, and I want to see what he can do, to move on further.
Yeah.
Guys, let's go to the big fight on the docket this weekend, the big competitive matchup. It was great on paper. Let's see if you thought it lived up to the hype. Before you say your initial reactions, I just want to know, just briefly, if y'all felt like Victor Postol versus Jose Ramirez. Guys, did it live up to the hype? Did it meet your expectations? Lucas?
I mean, I wasn't super hyped going into the fight. I mean, this is not like not something where I had to call everybody to come over to watch the fight. This is not one of those types for me, personally. But I think it was a good fight. I think, a lot of people, including some of us, underestimated Postol. He hung in there. He did what he had to do, but I think Ramirez even looked a little off. It was more just Ramirez and how well he did versus, Postol necessarily showing up. So a lot of people think that Ramirez just fell off completely and, still edged his way past, and Postol just kind of helped carry Postol through that fight, and I didn't see that at all. I think it was a very good fight, and the scores reflected it.
I have to say this because I'm mad at myself. I was this close to predicting the upset last weekend, and then I went the opposite direction of what my heart said. I'm really upset with myself right now because I almost did say Postol was going to win despite what you guys.
Yeah, sure you did.
I let y'all talk me into it.
I was expecting Ramirez to stop them in the, like I said, in our late stoppage. After the 9th, I think I predicted the 10th stoppage by Ramirez, but a lot of people are saying that Ramirez wasn't his 100%, which it looked like that part a bit, but a lot of that had to do with Postol being in his A game as well. That job kept Ramirez honest. A lot of people don't give credit Postol, but he can keep you on his range, on his distance, and throw you off your game. And I think that's what's happened. Ramirez connected a few shots that I had a big impact with Postol, but I think Ramirez didn't get to do his fight his game plan for the most part. And whenever he was applying his game plan, Postol will reset him. We throw him back to zero, start back from the beginning.
Curry, is this worth the rematch? Do you think it was a very close fight?
I'm okay with it. I will watch it, but it's not like, oh my God, we need a rematch to see the clear win.
Yeah, I don't think most people are going to demand it. I'm sorry, that's Sakura's question.
I know, right? I mean, it was very close, and to be generous and not even generous, but to be fair to Postol, it was a type of fight. With any other fighter, we would be like, run it back. But I think because Postol doesn't have that charisma, he's missing that charisma that makes you want to root for a fighter and wants to give them that second chance. And for that, Ramirez got very lucky. He had an off night, but part of that, as Javi was saying, was because of Postol's style. And he had Ramirez missing a lot too, guys. He was missing some shots, and he did not cut off the ring like I thought he knew how to do. So I was kind of thrown off by that because you guys know. I mean, I had him eye candy as the week. Like, I love me some Ramirez. So for me to sit up there and see these inconsistencies in his game, in his style, was a little shocking to me. And he better get his shit together before he get in there with Josh Taylor. I know that. I don't know what kind of, I know there was 3 different camps, training camps, and, he probably overtrained if we really think about it, because they were talking about the type of sparring that be at Garcia's gym, Angel's gym. So I feel like he better have his A game on. I doubt if we see that same Ramirez with a Josh Taylor, but I'm telling you now, he better have his shit together a lot better than what we saw the other night, because all Josh has to do is look at the blueprint that Postol laid out for him. And he might just try to do the same type of thing. Like, oh yeah, I got this. So he better know how to cut off the ring at that point or actually enact it. And he better not be off he said that he likes to thrive off the fans and things like that. And I'm sure that was also a part of the issue. But he's got to get used to that for now. It's not going to be a full crowd. Nope. Even in the UK, it might not be a full crowd. So, and even if it is a full crowd, it's not going to be like a California crowd that's all there rooting for him, right? They're not going to be rooting for his ass. So he had better get used to not having those fans there. And he had better learn how to cut that damn ring off and deal with a jab. He better look at some Mike Tyson video and know how to bob and weave inside. Because what I saw last night, Saturday night, was a little disappointing for me.
Yeah, a lot of that, allowed Postol to look as good as he did in the fight. With that being said, though, I do think that they were leaning on Josh getting the winner of this fight. Lucas, should he take a step back? Should he take another couple of fights, or at least another fight to warm up into that level? Or should he go ahead and go after the GOAT?
I mean, I think he's ready as long as he prepares. And I think that kind of showed evidently that he was not really completely ready for Postol. I think he can go into it now, though. I wouldn't say to take any other warm-up fights. Strike while the iron's hot.
Exactly, because then you risk losing and getting upset, like so many upsets we've seen so far already with people not being COVID ready. So yeah, I agree with you on that.
It's weird because we're saying that he wasn't quite ready for Postol, but they had 3 different training camps. How the hell are you not ready? So
well, you answered that already. He overtrained. You can overtrain yourself.
It has to be he either overtrained or he really slacked off more than he's gonna say he did.
Or he underrated, Postol.
Yeah, it's one or the other. We don't really know which one. We're trying to give him the benefit of the doubt because we know how Ramirez basically, broke down Maurice Hooker really easy.
Clarence says, "You go, Sakura. Tell him."
Oh, okay, thanks.
That is a fan of Shakur. He always telling me to back off on her, so I'm gonna give you that.
Guys, I know we on this subject. Just a quick question. Um, that was a great. By the way, that was a good competitive fight. It was a good main card. But are we gonna talk about my man Elvis Rodriguez? Because we need to address that now.
Okay. But 1 second though, I ain't quite through with Postol on that situation there.
Mhm.
Postol needs to learn, even though you got a great jab, you can't win no fight unless you Mayweather with no jabs and sticking and moving. So he needs to incorporate some power punches into his arsenal, and for his next opponent, because that's the only reason he lost, because it was still competitive.
Yeah, but I think he does have more power punches. He was connecting the right hand a few times. It's just like the European style. It's like they really far like really they fight like really stiff, basically not stiff, but like really straight, and they don't engage much. And I'm not gonna say that they don't have inside game. It's just like inside game is not their best attribute when it comes to the European fighting style, because you could see that a few times on the inside, Ramirez will connect the body shots, will smuggle his punch and all of that. But Posto, yeah, definitely. I think he can make some noise and hang there with the top of position at that weight.
Javi, you crack me up. You the only person that I know who always has a comment back for anything anybody ever says. You always do. And you were trying to introduce a new topic. My man, go ahead. Let's go on with the new topic.
All right. So all the fans that are watching, anybody that can see this message, there's a new kid on the block, right? His name is Elvis Rodriguez. Now, us boxing fans, we like to see the young guys come up, do their thing. This new kid is gonna make some noise. So don't be left behind and try to jump on the wagon 3, 6 months from now when he's already hit, like mainstream media. Jump on the wagon now because this kid has the guts. Elvis Rodriguez is no joke. Guys, I trained with Pitu for years. He knows him from the wild card gym and with Freddie Roach. He tells me, yo, that kid has everything. And he has the discipline. He's going places. So jump on the wagon now, Elvis Rodriguez. I think he's gonna put DR boxing on the map.
Guys, do we have any comments, or was that just a public service announcement by Javi?
I mean, it was a hellified knockout. I mean, I'm gonna reserve all of that, which Javi just gave us, until we get some stiffer competition.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Go ahead, Lucas.
No, I mean it was a nice knockout, and I share Javi's excitement, but I also share Sakura's, and maybe we should wait out and just see how it plans out.
This is the double standards that I don't get. You're talking about he needs better opposition to see what he's made of, right? But when you have the likes of the Gervantes and the David Haney's and the Lopez and the other fighters, where they're fighting not that top opposition, but they get the hype. Get the hype. My man is not getting the hype.
I was the last one on the Golovkin bandwagon. For me, with his pound for pound, it's not what I think you can do, it's what you've proven. So I'm more, you got to show me first.
Fair enough.
Right.
Yeah, mean, Tank, the only one that's like, I like Tank's power. That's like evident. So you can measure that against other people's and what you feel like their chin can take. But everybody else in the lightweight division, you don't quite know. You're just gauging it based on, their attributes, the pedigree, like with Devin Haney. I feel like he has the pedigree. And then, you got people that's wild cards out there, like T.O. and Ryan Garcia. So, like, I'm not going to say that they're, like, the truth yet.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, and let me go ahead.
I say I do like them other two, the other two fighters that was on that same card too, guys.
Thank you.
And Martinez, they gave us a hell of a fight.
Man,
Thank you.
Go ahead.
And that's what I'm trying to say. Javi, you got other fighters out there that are right now that are being showcased that have that type of potential. You got my man who has all them knockouts. Every single fight he's ever fought, all those knockouts. I forget his name right now because he's a youngin, but we've seen him on the top rank card. I like him a lot right now. He's a real knockout artist.
What weight class?
He's middleweight. I believe he's middleweight. But you got those other fighters. You got these other fighters that are up and coming right now that are being showcased that are real prospects. So your boy is one of them, but you got some others that are up and coming. And Lucas,
right?
Go ahead. No, rebuttal.
No. I mean, I just feel like see when I'm hype about somebody, it's not about their knockout. That's the last thing I'm looking at. I'm looking at their fundamentals. I'm looking at the technique. I'm looking at their ring generalship. I'm looking at their sense of range, of distance, their balance when they're punching. Like all of these little qualities my man has. And that's what I'm saying. This is a kid developing. This is what I'm saying. Jump on the wagon, because if he's true what I heard about him, being disciplined, dedicated to his work, and not messing around with other stuff like the other young kids are, then this kid is going places. That's why I'm a little hype about him. But and besides, because we don't really see a lot of Dominican boxers that are top style. After I met my man Claudio Marrero, I realized that kids like the Elvis Rodriguez are gonna put DR boxing on the map.
And I hope he does. We're not saying that we don't think that he will. I mean, I like what I saw, but like I'm saying,
we know you like what you saw.
Yeah, of course, I like what I saw. I mean, that's a future eye candy of the week for me. I mean, but I see what you mean when you say overall, like this could be a star in the making, because he has the looks, he's got charisma, he has the speed, he has the form, the nice jab, and it looked like he has some serious power. So we can only observe and see. But I want to talk about this other fight I mentioned. Those two guys was they came out with a draw. They both got a KO each. They both were make or break situation where they needed that fight to move up. And I don't know what happens with a draw in that situation, but I mean, I like both of their styles. It was
okay with the draw
because they were so evenly matched.
It was a great fight, and usually with draws, you're like, man, I can't stand this shit. It makes you want to flip a table and be like, fuck boxing, But this draw, I was like, that's good. It's good. Yeah. It fit, I don't think anybody was mad. In fact, they didn't look like they were mad.
They knew it. They knew that was the right decision. They knew, yeah, I could see that. We both had
because at the end of the day, this is when a draw that is given is actually is proper, because.
Did you guys see a draw though?
I saw a draw.
Absolutely, I saw a draw.
It was close, but I think Archon might have etched it out from me.
I'll tell you why I saw it a draw, because it was close and it could have gone either way. And because both guys were undefeated and both guys have quality and they did their thing, then the proper decision was to give him a draw, not mess up their undefeated records, and make them move on to bigger and better things. Because the kids, they did their part. And like I said, I think it was really competitive. It was really close. It could have gone either way. So to me, I'm happy with a draw.
No, I completely am happy with the draw. As I stated, I'm over ecstatic with the draw, which is very rare. But I would have been the card if I was the judge. I would have been the card that favored Archon. That's what I'm saying.
But listen, let's think about this now. If Martinez hadn't got dropped by Akron in the last minute, he would have won the fight. Martinez would have been given the fight based on the cards. And how would y'all have felt about that?
Because Martinez has the early knockdown. I think that what changed that is because Martinez had the early knockdown, and then Archon had the late knockdown. So they kind of balanced each other out with the knockdowns. They got both 1-1, and the fight was close all through the rounds.
Right, but I'm
Look,
saying if he hadn't have caught him at the end, like think about Martinez and how he's feeling. He's like, damn,
That is
based
true.
on this situation, if I hadn't have got caught in the last minute or two of the fight,
Yep.
I would have won that fight.
That is true.
protect yourself at all times. That's why they tell you, protect yourself at all times. Look, some fights you just gotta run back. Some of them you just have to. This is one of the cases where, rare cases at that, but some of them you just have to run it back.
Yes. I'm with you
I think they
100%.
should save that, by the way. I think
Yeah,
that they
it's not
should
happening.
not have them meet right now and let both of them build up, and then boom, it's a rematch. Like it's time to run it back. Then I think that's what they should do in this situation.
Clarence agrees. Said that fight was good. Run it back. I mean, you got to, but let it build. Let it simmer a little bit. You know, I already give them both respect for fighting each other so early on. But yeah, let it simmer a little bit. Let them go off, and they can come back. Because I mean, I think it'll always be a good fight.
Good match.
Yeah, that'll be a real serious rivalry if the next one is just as close in like a year or two.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like then it's gonna be like they gotta fight again.
Assuming they stay undefeated as well.
Mhm.
That being said, let's move on, guys. This one is a non-official fight, but I want to know your thoughts. What are your guys' thoughts on Kell Brook versus Terrence Crawford? Talks are underway right now. ESPN, everybody's announcing it that they're in talks, in negotiations for this fight. Do we want to see it? We don't want to see it. What's your guys' thought?
I think it don't matter if we want to see it. I think it's going to happen. And the reason being is it's kind of that comparable fight. So they're both going to be wondering, you know, how quick can Crawford get Brook out of there? Can he get him do better than Spence did against Brook? And that's going to help build this fight to become one of these, you know, big pay-per-view fights that they're trying to make it into. And I don't know. I mean, do I want to see it? Not necessarily. Will I watch it? Yes. I mean, I'm not over ecstatic about the fight, but I think most people going to see Brook and Terrence Crawford on, you know, a poster aren't going to be turning it down. Of course not.
I'm with it. I'm with the match. You know, I think it's a good test for Crawford at 147. Kell Brook is still top opposition at 147, and of course we'll have an idea of how will Terrence Crawford will do with Kell Brook. You know, basically, or based on what we saw, what Spence did to him. So it will be good, like it will be good, like of a measurement idea. Okay, Spence did this. Let's see what Crawford did, and that will bring more excitement into the matchup of like the final matchup that hopefully happens, Spence versus Crawford. But yeah, I would definitely love to see Terrence Crawford versus Kell Brook.
Well, you know what? I sure the hell wouldn't. I don't want to see this shit. And I'm telling you why. I'm not trying to be funny, guys, but Brook, I know he used to be quality. I know that he has fought some of, the welterweights that have now gone on to rank higher than him. But that's what the hell I want to see. I want to see the people that are ranked on the top 5 against Bud Crawford. Bud Crawford is sitting over there holding this title, this world championship title, and all we keep seeing is some bullshit ass matchups. Ain't nobody gonna be satisfied if they see this fight. I mean, come on now, Javi, Lucas, and Rob. You all know y'all asses when he wins that fight easily, you're gonna be sitting up there like, well, I mean, we already knew that anyway, and it's no big deal because he fought after Triple G Brook. Like, why we gotta even do this? And then I heard they wasn't even offering Brook no damn type of money to be taking no extra L from a person like Bud. He gonna knock him strap out, guys. He gonna get in there. He gonna have a mean streak. He gonna be pissed off because he still ain't fighting a PBC welterweight. And this shit is gonna end early. It's gonna be like a waste of time. Go ahead, make the paperwork, get it done, y'all. They need to give up give up one of these welterweights, okay? Sean Porter has stepped up to the plate. He said he'll take that damn fight. And we all know it's going to prove something if he wins against a Sean Porter. It ain't proving a damn thing if he beats a Brook. I'm sorry. It's not.
Shakur.
This madness right now. I don't even want, I mean, they hyping it up like it's like the best thing since fried chicken and collard greens and macaroni and cheese and some damn green beans and some damn cornbread and a damn pecan pie for dessert. And that shit is not all that. You might get some baked chicken out of it.
Well, Shakur, you said a mouthful, and as usual, I disagree with all of it.
Okay.
Look at Terrence Crawford's last fight. I'm not finished. Let me have my time, miss.
All right, and then I'm going to rebut because you're finna say.
Look at Terrence Crawford's last fight. He had issues with that guy, a no-name fighter. He had issues with. And you think Kell Brook isn't going to come in there to win the fight and try to take his head off? Absolutely. Kell Brook can fight. Let's not forget it. Kell Brook can fight. And this is a way far after Triple G fight. Hell, Spence got the best of that situation, and he still couldn't take him out but in the later rounds. And I still gave Kell Brook a couple of rounds in that fight. So you can't tell me that Kell Brook isn't going to be competitive enough to compete against Terrence Crawford. Who the hell is he? Lucas, back me up. This is your take on this, but you always say this now. Who the hell is Terrence Crawford? Who has he beaten
Lucas,
yet?
would you rather
Who
see,
has he beaten yet?
Lucas, would you rather see a prime, in shape, regularly fighting PBC top 5 welterweight, or would you like to see Bud fight a Kell Brook?
Now let me answer that for you right now, because that's
You're
not
gonna
gonna
answer
happen.
for me.
Because that's not happening.
Which would you
Shakur,
rather?
that's not happening.
There.
We're talking fairy tales right now.
Lucas, which one would you rather? Javi, after that, please. I'm taking this show over for a minute.
I'll go first. I'd rather see the rematch of KSI and Logan Paul, to be honest.
Say that again?
I will see Logan Paul versus KSI again.
Oh man.
Why are you trying to stay out of this? You know damn well, you would rather see him fight a top 5er. Okay, Lucas?
Now, top 5er compared to who? Whose rankings are we talking?
I said any top 5 fighter in the welterweight division against Bud Crawford.
Yeah, I mean, I think I implied that with basically saying, like, am I excited for, him to be fighting Kell Brook? No. I mean, I want other fights. I would rather see a Spence or a Porter or name basically a named PBC welterweight. I mean, insert name here, basically. But I don't think we're getting that. So the next best thing may be a Kell Brook. So I kind of see where, both of you coming from. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but has the WBO even enforced a Crawford? Have they mandated a fight for him?
Not since Horn, I don't think.
It's about time.
Is this a time?
Was it? Correct me if I'm wrong. His last fight was a mandatory.
Yeah, it was.
I believe his last fight was a mandatory. Yes.
This is his
So-
option. This is his
No,
option.
I don't. Yeah, that's where I'm questioning the WBO rankings then,
Yeah.
because who the hell was that?
I mean, he was a competitive fighter. He was
Knocked
an
him down. He did catch him off guard and he knocked him down, but then when he got up, he knew
I
his
mean-
ass was in for hell.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he woke up the beast. It's like, just like, oh shit, what did I do?
Yeah.
And
And the kid was.
Spence and Kell Brook. I mean, like, literally, I'm with Bud on that. Remember when Bud was like, I saw something in his eyes. He ain't want to fight no more. Like, we don't even really know if he really KO'd, if he really TKO'd a Brook. We don't know, because it looked like he just was like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
What y'all not gonna do is sit here and throw shade at that. For one, I repeat my argument, Shakira. For one, that's not happening. He's not fighting any of the top 5 fighters because they're all owned by PBC. And
So
PBC
maybe
already said they
he's
refuse to
a
do
top five
business with him.
instead
They
Uh,
already said that.
all
Number
right.
one. And number two, what y'all got against Kell Brook? Okay?
Sherman.
Because he still can compete.
Like Amir Khan. We tired of that. We wanted to see
And you know what? That might happen after this fight.
Sherman Henson says welterweights are playing pick'em. Clarence says Sakura, you're hungry. Laughing face. Porter Thurman. So yeah, I mean that's who we want to see. I think Porter Thurman,
yeah,
Danny Garcia, even
right.
basically a PBC fighter at this
I
point.
don't-
We want to see more name fighters, and like I was saying, is it seems like the WBO is afraid to name like a name fighter. Maybe they already know that fight ain't gonna get made and be problems for these promoters to make. I don't know, but
Well, I'm throwing it out here right now. Crawford's going to have a handful against Kell Brook in the earlier rounds.
I think everybody gives Crawford fits early. That's Crawford though. You get him early.
And see
You
what,
get him early. You piss him off, and then you're done. Then he adjusts, and he does what he needs to do to get you out of there.
That's what it is. It's adaptability. He's figuring you out. And
Everybody has caught him early. Yeah. Everybody's caught him early. Gamboa caught him early. Lundy caught him early.
And that's the one ability that he has. Like kind of like I would compare that to Mayweather. Well, he'll figure you out within 3-4 rounds, and then it's like, all right, now let's go to work.
Yep. Style tweak, and then it's on. And he is one of those fighters that I talk a lot. The winner of the fight is usually the style that dictates the fight, and he makes that fight always his style. He will make you fight his style. He will never fight your style.
Yeah. I mean, listen. If you knock him down, well, if you trying to go for a knockout or a heavy hook on him, you better try to knock him completely out. Because if he gets back up, that's your ass. Like, you have really caused him to be pissed off highly, and now he's gonna try to give you everything and the kitchen sink.
And that's why I want to see Porter too, because Porter's also so ferocious. He almost forces you to fight differently. So I want to see how he handles that, because Crawford hasn't had to endure something like that just yet.
100%.
I feel the
All
same.
right, y'all. So that's an unofficial bout, but our next topic here that we move to is an actually recently announced official bout for October. The Monster Inoue versus Jason Maloney. We just recently saw Jason Maloney on ESPN for Top Rank. The Monster is now being featured in this division on a card in October against, a valid opponent. What are your guys' thoughts on this announcement? Is this a good fight? Hobby?
Inoue now, is he still at the weight? Is he at the unified champion in that division, or did he move up?
I think he's still in the same division. I think he's still in the same, because Jason Maloney is at that lower weight.
Yeah. And I was wondering which Maloney, because I think there's two. And one of them is undefeated. The other one lost in the ESPN when they were doing the summer series. So I wonder which one they're feeding to the Monster, because that's basically what they're doing. Top Rank is making sure that he's coming and doing his, Top Rank debut with a bang. Because both of the Maloneys, they can bang. They're good fighters. But one of them just lost. I don't know if that's the one they throw into the fire, or the undefeated one. If that's the one, he won't be undefeated for too long, man. This guy is no joke.
If he just lost, I hope they would not just give him a fight with Inoue.
Well, you gotta remember.
Jason is the older brother.
Jason
is the one who had the knockout victory in his last fight. Andrew Maloney is the one who lost. He avenged his loss, but no. Jason is the one that is the undefeated fighter.
So basically, they throw him they're feeding him to the monster.
Jason's
And
not undefeated either.
I think he is.
I believe he's got a loss or two.
Oh, okay. So then, but
Lucas, damn it,
that one,
no.
he's undefeated.
The Maloney brothers were both undefeated.
Yeah.
Andrew was the one who lost. But
Who lost? On that Summer Series.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I
it actually.
comment.
Yeah, to be honest, Jason, not to take nothing away from the other, but Jason is the better fighter between them two. Just like I think 160 Charlo is the better fighter than 154 Charlo. You know? So Jason is going to be a good test, but at the end of the day, guys, you know, there's levels to this game. Just like Loma is at the God level, Inoue is at some level that is basically is going to be his debut party. He knows the American audience is going to be in tune, so he has to close the show with a bang and put his name on the map and say, America boxing, I'm here.
Yep.
Real shit, Lucas. I stand corrected.
Yeah,
You are
Manuel
absolutely
Rodriguez.
correct.
Yeah, he's got a loss too.
You are absolutely correct.
Well, you know what? I was just about to say, I don't care. I ain't interested
Doesn't
in this
really
fight.
matter. I mean,
Like, it really don't matter. Like, for me, I would much rather see Nonito Donaire and Inoue rematch. That shit was close.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
action-packed. I think Donaire deserves it, and I feel like Inoue would be down for it.
The question is, Donaire won it.
They're just trying to give Maloney a bump up with connecting his name with Monster, I believe. It's a promotional thing, but it's not a fight that the fans are gonna be just like clamoring to go see, you know. And it's like an outcome that I know you're saying that Maloney is the better fighter out of the Jason. Maloney is the better fighter out of them two brothers, but it's still like no equivalent to Inoue. So what are we doing here? Like, I mean, it's not like we got a situation where we're gonna have a fight and we don't know the outcome. I don't want to watch this fight and not know the outcome. Like, I'd much rather see that Donaire rematch.
Let's see. We got some comments here. Sherman Henson, all the welterweights are afraid to lose except Keith Thurman. I mean, I kind of agree with that, but I think Crawford's kind of also in a bubble, and the fact that he can't even get these fights right now because of the whole top-ranked PBC clash. So I'm not going to hang too much on that on Terrence Crawford. Let's see. CJ Hooker, are you guys going to talk about two potential Fight of the Year candidates, Lomachenko versus Lopez and Davis versus Santa Cruz? We definitely sure can. It wasn't on the bill for tonight, but, I mean, can always talk about those. The winners should face each other 2021. And then Sherman Henson, again, promoters are afraid for their fighters to lose because they don't know how they'll come back after a loss. Yep, meal tickets. Go ahead, Rob.
I was just gonna say, no, it's a little too early for those matchups. We definitely will be touching on those, and as they come along or as they come up. We've been talking about those fights actually, but I do have something in the rapid fires for you if you interested in hearing more about Tank Davis.
Yeah, we don't have much to touch on before rapid fire anyway, do we?
We got my
tweet of the week.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that almost.
Oh, which one did I say, Lucas, for tweet of the week?
Pacquiao.
Oh, yeah. This was so, I was just like, Freddie. Okay, so Pacquiao's trainer, Freddie, is just hilarious to me, guys. I mean, the main reason why is because he's saying things that we know probably, it's probably, I don't know. I just feel like the situation that's like it's a cluster right there. Are they freaking serious about this situation? Is what I want to know. Now let me get it. Let me pull up this tweet here. Let's see. I got so much going on here. All right. So ESPN's Ringside, they tweeted today. It says Pacquiao's coach doesn't see McGregor lasting 3 rounds against Manning. And then you got this quote. Let's see. It says, why even make that guy rich? Question mark. Manny will destroy Conor McGregor inside 3 rounds. He will obliterate him. I mean, I could answer that and be like, well, yeah. But my main situation is, how the hell are they serious about making this Pacquiao versus McGregor situation a reality? Like, really? All that shit everybody talked when Mayweather decided to fight him, and how wrong it was for the sport, and how it's just not something that he should have been doing, and he doesn't have any clue about him to even want to, take a fight with an MMA fighter. Of course, he's gonna win. All this bullshit, and now you see that these people are still actually talking about a possible Pacquiao versus McGregor fight. Like, can somebody tell me? I mean, if you've already talked shit and said that this situation was wrong with Mayweather, why are we recycling this situation?
Because we know there's money in it. You know the old answer. It's all in the greenbacks. Now, it's going to draw a huge crowd whether we like it or not. And I don't think Pacquiao's going to be as nice as Mayweather. Mayweather carried him. He was done. He got tired pretty early on. He's doing MMA type, stamina and stuff. He didn't have that. He wore the hell out, and I don't think he can do it. Pacquiao's not going to be as nice. Pacquiao's going to put it on him. And, I agree completely with Freddie Roach said. He's going to get him out of there. But the question is, do the hardcore fans want to see it? No, we're all going to be bored. But all these common fans and all these YouTube fighters and shit like that, they're the people that are going to end up paying to see this shit. Why, I don't know. Because Mayweather left the door open by carrying him and letting people think that he did well. And they're going to bring up these stats, believe it or not. They're going to bring up the stats that, he landed more on Mayweather than Pacquiao did and all this other shit, right? But that's, again, for the common fan that doesn't understand that Mayweather was not being the defensive Mayweather, because guess what? He could handle it. It was like flies hitting him. He walked through an uppercut, which I don't think I've ever seen Mayweather do. Walked through it. He didn't back up. He didn't change defensively. Mayweather walked through an uppercut. And that is not how Floyd fights.
But what I'm trying to tell you guys, my point is that they are, look, the powers that be, the Pacquiaos, the Freddie Roaches, the Oscar De La Hoyas, they all were like, no, you can't do this. This is totally wrong for the sport. It's messed up. It's disgraceful. And now every last one of them wants the damn same fight.
Clarence says McGregor looking for another payday. Y'all got Sakura fired up now.
And so is Manny Pacquiao. And at the end of the day, it goes back to the saying, right? If you make dollars, it makes sense, and it's gonna make a lot of dollars. The promoters are known that that will bring good numbers as far as ratings, dollars, revenue, and everything, pay-per-view, all of that. So I think there's gonna be definitely a good, show. I wouldn't call it a fight, a good exhibition,
But, and Pac's on his way out.
Yeah.
Pac's on his way out. He wants a big money fight.
And you want to cash out.
Yeah.
He earned it. He earned it. Now, you got a lot of fighters that don't like, from the MMA side, that don't like boxing. You got a lot of the boxing fans that don't like the MMA. So that confliction, that contradiction, then that makes for a good matchup and entertaining show. Because at the end of the day, we're in the entertainment business. So
right. You invite your MMA buddies over to be like, look, Pacquiao's going to destroy him. It gets people together. So, yeah, it's going to make money. Dalia Duran, I'm sure this is a joke. Pac-Man versus Mayweather, laughing face. But Pac-Man will destroy him.
Probably after this fight, if it happens and Pacquiao wins in a better fashion than Mayweather did, then he has a stronger case to still calling him out. Floyd already said he ain't coming back, but that will give him a stronger case, and it will put that seed of curiosity on the fans and be like, oh, what will happen now then?
Don't ever say never with Mayweather.
Yeah, and he looked in amazing shape with this.
He stays ready. Stage ready.
I mean,
Let
he
me
was
tell
like
you.
154 pounder with that extra weight he had on, and I was like, "Whoa, what you been doing, man?" Like that don't look like nobody's body that's about to retire. I'm telling you that right now.
Let me tell y'all like
CJ Hooker
this,
said
man.
De La Hoya trying to damn come back at 47. Yes.
Hey, Sergio Martinez came back at 45. Sergio Martinez just got ranked number
Nah.
6
Right,
in
right,
WBA.
right,
Don't let me get started on that.
right, right.
Started on that.
Let me tell y'all like this here. Fighters, every boxer out there, like the caliber of Pacquiao and Mayweather, don't have shit to do, don't have no fight lined up, don't have nothing going on in the ring. What do? They call out McGregor's name. McGregor ain't even been active in his own sport. He fights maybe once a year right now in the UFC, if that. He hasn't even been active in the gym lately. So
Man.
and then they get y'all riled up and people like y'all out here talking about this shit. That makes it even more better for them. Stop it.
Man, you get
The
it.
only thing this is worthless dribble, as my man Javier likes to say. It's just something to keep the fans talking because Pacquiao ain't got shit lined up right now. And that's sad to say. We need to see him. We need to see Canelo. Guys, our stars in boxing, we need to see y'all back in the ring.
McGregor, don't listen to him. Call me. We'll set up a fight.
But look, talking about now, since my man mentioned my man Canelo, right? And you say that Pac-Man doesn't have nothing lined up. That you're right. You're right, and it gets the fans talking, and it creates that conflict of interest between the both fan bases, the MMA and the boxing.
I feel like
Right.
Hobby's about to say something to piss me off. Go ahead, though.
but no, I'm gonna go into my shit talking now. We have a disgrace with this sanctioning bodies, guys.
All right, here we go. Can I introduce the segment, please? Can we
Go
get
ahead,
rid?
brother. Go
Can
ahead,
we
please.
can we get through the eye candy of the week first?
All right, go ahead.
Oh, let me get comfortable. Okay, so since it's my turn for the ladies' eye candy of the week, what I'm trying to tell you, and these are some delicious men. Now, they're not in my age range, but sometimes, I went with the Latino flavor the last 2 times, and this time I had to pull out my chocolate drops, for the ladies that like a little chocolate in their life. And I came up with 2 for the price of 1. That's right, the Charlo twins. You got Jamel, and then you got Jamal. Jamal, the older one, will be the middleweight, and he is a WBC champion who is about to face Derenchenko. And then you have the couple of seconds later, Charlo, which is Jamel. And Jamel is about to have a really big unification bout at 154 with the banana, Jason Rosario. This is no doubt going to be one of the best cards of 2020. You heard it here first. Because you get a double hitter. You get both your chocolate drops, ladies. You can see both of them for one price because it is pay-per-view on Showtime. And I think that date is September. Oh, no. Is it September 26th? Either way it goes, it is worth your time, ladies, for you to check out these wonderfully built men. It's double mint twins. They're chocolate. They're delicious. And they can fight.
So, Clarence said, Sakura, that's cheating. Charlos. Dahlia Duran said, buy one, get another one for free. Super eye candy.
That's right. Tell them, Dahlia.
I'm gonna keep my comments to myself.
Hey, I'm just looking for
get
you.
us in trouble.
Rob, you better come with the thunder next week.
I know
I'm gonna
it.
get us in trouble.
I mean, guys, aren't y'all excited for those fights, though?
Yeah,
A unification.
We are.
Hey, I'm glad it's been picking up. It's been picking up, and I'm actually excited for some boxing
So speaking of which, let's go ahead and start off the rapid fire. But first, I need your predictions. We do have fights coming up this weekend. Lucas, what you got? Nothing. Okay, I thought you was
No,
trying.
I thought you were giving my man Javi a little.
I will, but we got to touch on this weekend's predictions. So
I'm
we
waiting for
can't turn that down.
He's waiting for his time. Okay.
He's patiently waiting for it.
Okay, keep it going. Keep it going.
This weekend we got 2 fight cards on again. We got Ugas over at with PBC, and then we got my man. We got Ugas over at PBC, and then we got the Jamel Herring bout with Okendo over on ESPN. And that was makeup for the COVID bout issue that he had earlier this year, guys. Your predictions, you see any upsets happening? Because at this point, you never know.
At this point, the good money would be on Jamal Herring testing positive again. I don't know. I mean,
that could happen.
I mean, how many times can it get pushed back? Man,
that would be a disgrace, man. I could only feel for the man. I want to see him because he did 2 training camps.
Yeah, I feel bad for the guy. He's putting in all this time.
Well, I'm gonna be a spoiler. I like Herring because he's a veteran. He's been in the military, and he deserves our support. But I have no clue, and this does not mean that his opponent is no good. But I don't know who this guy is, and I'm just assuming that Ugas is gonna run through his opponent as well. Like, I'm gonna have to put that lame sticker on both of these fights coming up this weekend, guys. They can do better than this.
Well, I gotta say, with Herring's case, unknown opponent, but let's face it, his opponent's been in camp now, being able to restudy him and add every kink that he can, every advantage that he can in this fight. Herring, we really don't know what type of shape he's gonna be in when he comes into the ring. So that's something to look out for. You guys, you need a knockout, bro. You need a knockout. You need a statement. You need to tell these motherfuckers out here to stop playing with you and give you that title shot.
Yeah. I mean, Okendo he's a veteran, but it seems like when he steps up, he loses. So I'm kind of agreeing with Sakura. I really don't think anything other than Herring walking through him. But like you said, I mean, he's gone through 2 training camps already. He's probably got a little bit of that in his mind is, am I even going to get to this fight? So that messes with you in camp.
True, definitely. I mean, Rob, because you said that situation, I'm going to watch the Herring fight. 1, because he's the vet, and 2, because you're saying maybe we might see a crack in the armor. But for the Ugas bout, guys, let's face it, this is one of those filler fights just like Sean Porter just had. It's just to keep them warm and busy. It's nothing that's going to be like, that's just going to wow us.
That may be true, but Ugas needs a statement. And I'm looking at that fight to see what that statement is.
Well, who has he not got in the past? He's not known for his power.
He needs to do something.
He might need to take a trick or 2 from Lara and start stepping in that pocket. And you know what his problem is? He always take his foot off the gas in the final championship rounds and doesn't make his win decisive enough. So if I had a tip for him, I'd be like, you know what? When you get in these later rounds, you need to, don't get lackluster and complacent thinking you won. You better fight them last rounds like you don't know who the hell winning.
No, fair enough. All right, Javi, this is your moment to shine right now with the rapid fire segment here. Let's go. I'm gonna give everybody a rant on this one. Everybody gets a rant. fans chime in because I know you're gonna have some disagreements, some stuff you want to say too. Everybody, let's give us your message to the sanctioning bodies, orchestrated by Javi.
All right, first of all, I'm gonna give my predictions. Of course, we know who's gonna win, which is the A side. Herring's gonna win. Ugas is gonna win. Now, let's talk about some bigger problems that we have with these officials, right? Now, we've seen lately the news and the social media and the updates. These promoters networks are complaining about, even fans, they're complaining about the low ratings on the sport, right? Boxing is dead, boxing is dying, blah, blah, blah. Now, that could be the case, and that could be truth. And we've seen the bogus decisions we'll be having, the bullshit decisions with the judges, some of the refs. But when you have the actual officials, the sanctioning bodies, the same ones that are supposed to, make sure that everything is safe and correct in the sport, doing slimy shit, it just, to me, it's like a stab in the back. As a hardcore boxing fan, when you have this sanctioning bodies telling a fighter like, well, you are the super franchise. I don't even know what the hell that means. But that means that he can do whatever he wants, choose whoever he wants to fight, and he doesn't fight his mandatories. So he gets that because guess what? He brings the paper. Then you have this other organization where it's like a fighter that just came back from retirement at 45, that didn't look that good when he retired. Now, all of a sudden, ranked within the top 10. So we can milk his name. So we can milk his high profile as a fighter to match him against top opposition. Because let's be honest, if you say Maravilla Martinez against any of the top 10 at that weight, people are going to tune in to watch. People are still curious about it. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a farce because the WBC not only created this franchise champion, but they never forget that they chose to switch the rules when it came to the clenbuterol because of their main cash cow coming up positive. That to me was the most slimy shit. Now, what the WBA is doing with Maravilla Martinez of ranking him high just so they can get that payday and of course charge their fees is another slimy shit. Basically what they're saying is we could give two shits about your sport. We're trying to cash out, just like the promoters, just like the networks and anybody else. It's not about carrying the sport, making sure that fighters are good. It's about, well, let's see who can get the most out of this. Let's see who can cash out the most.
And it's not about safety either, because let's face it, Sergio is not ready for that kind of a fight. He's going to get hurt.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. This is the people that are supposed to be concerned with your health. Be supposed to help the fighters if anything goes left, anything goes wrong. But at the same time, are the same one playing the bullshit, are the same one implying the politics that are killing the sport, and the same ones that are willing to create rules or blend already established rules to favor the fighter that is going to bring the biggest feast to the organization. That's, to me, that's, like I said, WBC to me is like worse boxing's cancer because all the bullshit that it does with the sport. The WBA, what they did to Sergio Martinez, it just tells me they don't really care about the rankings. They just care about high-profile fighters that are going to bring cash. And the WBO, well, sometimes a lot of people say that they in bed with Top Rank. Look what they be doing. Even if they're not in bed, it sure looks like it. Like they both work side to side with each other, which that to me is a violation of the Muhammad Ali Act.
Man. And yeah, the poor boxers that actually work their way up the rankings, they just throw them back down as soon as somebody like, Sergio Martinez comes back. Oh, we'll just rank you. Sherman commented, let's see, judges and referees should be suspended for 6 months or for making bad calls or having a bad scorecard.
Yeah, and you know what, too?
I agree.
Like I said before, this drug test that we be having, an anti-doping test, they should do it to the judges too. Shit. Because some of them look like they're high when they're scoring. Not that they look, but their scorecards reflect somebody that's under the influence of something. like me right now.
Sherman, I mean, you got a point. How many times have we ever even heard of like a judge being reprimanded or anything like that?
Oh, they don't exist that. Not here.
Referees get a lot of shit. Referees gonna get a lot of shit, and judges get shit like on Twitter, but they don't get anything actually done. Nothing gets done. They don't get suspensions. They don't get in any kind of
holding
trouble.
your purse, right? Like they do to fighters. Remember how they hold their purse? I think it was the dude that fought Danny Garcia last, red catch, because of the whole biting thing. They held his purse and blah blah blah. Maybe they should do that to the judges. You know what I mean? Or at least being able to rewrite, because this fighter, sometimes you work your way up, right? You win 3-4 fights in a row. You aiming for that title shot, and then you win the title shot, but a judge robs you of that decision. So all that fights, all that training, all that climbing up stairs that you did, it goes down to hell because one person that's supposed to be the official is not doing their job correctly or properly.
Right. WBC, though, I couldn't agree with you more, especially with the whole Canelo thing. So basically he can just be like, I'm going to go up to light heavyweight, and I want to fight somebody that's coming off like 2 straight losses. I'm going to get this belt, though.
For the belt.
Right. I'm doing it for your belt. WB says, okay, sure, whatever. Come on,
guys,
man.
I'm not.
Have some self-respect, at least. Like, this is the titles that, like, Joe Frazier, Ali, and you shitting all over all this past boxing history to me.
And not to mention, Lucas, there's a very interesting clip of Marquez telling, not Mauricio, but I think it was Jose Suleiman, the father, the one that established the WBC, telling him to his face, Marquez saying, there's a lot of fighters working their way up, but you're favoring Canelo. And Jose, the father, he blatantly said, well, we prefer to give certain opportunities to Mexican fighters. He said it like that, flat out.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I mean, boxing is a national sport. Fine, you want to do that. But whoever you're going to give the opportunity to, make sure they earned it. And not they just don't get it just because they bring cash and everybody eats when they fight.
And at least demand somewhat of a better opponent. Not somebody coming off a loss. I mean, let's see. We got Clarence Clarence has an emoji dude covering his eyes. Sherman says fighters train too hard to have the fight taken away from them. We can't agree more with you there. Dalia Duran, so clap emoji, I guess.
They're like encore, but
Yeah.
don't you do it?
But
Sherman says they should find a way to reprimand promoters as well. I don't know if you can do that, but go ahead,
guys,
Rob.
and the fans. I mean, I don't disagree with you, but how do you fix it? I mean, all you can sit here and complain about it and get mad and upset all you want. Sherman, I see you talking about the suspensions, but we've done that. They've suspended judges before to come right back and doing more awful shit in the sport. How do we actually fix it?
We, as a group, need to hold the boxing commissions accountable.
So if you, okay.
Right to Nevada State Athletic Commission, we start petitions to remove these people.
So then you have the judging, and the refereeing, correct, to remove those. But how are you going to fix the rankings? How are you going to fix all of that?
The rankings not us. We can't fix that. The WBC is going to make their own rankings. We can't do anything about it. Now we can, again, basically, right, like I'm doing now, bashing the WBC and telling them that they shouldn't be doing this kind of shit. Does it actually help?
Do it anyway.
Hell no. The only way it can do it is don't turn it into the goddamn fight. Canelo fighting somebody off a loss, guess what? Don't fucking watch it. Stop watching the garbage. Like, that's all I got to say. You already know who's gonna win. What the hell's the point? I'm just saying. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But some people are in the wagon so bad that you can put him against somebody that's not even ranked between the 110, the first 100, and they will still watch it, because they're not really fans of the sport.
I
They're
know.
fan of the god.
And it's so frustrating.
It is.
Over 1 million people tuned in to see Danny Garcia cremate Rod Salka. I don't understand why people are paying for the garbage. Like, Do you just want to see bum
Because you
fights? I
already
mean,
said
do
it.
you want to see like just two people just randomly get in there and swing and knock each other out?
Well,
Well,
look,
you already said it, because we have no choice. If you want to see your favorite fighter, you're going to tune in to your favorite fighter.
you take
And
what
we
they
have
see.
no choice.
Yeah, they take.
But
That's what I'm saying. They're not fan of the sport. They fan of the fighter. So whoever they put the fighter against, they're still gonna tune in and watch.
right.
Okay?
But what y'all are failing to mention here is that boxing has to evolve. It has to. It has to make changes.
As far as
And
what?
every great organization that you have comes a point in time where you need to sit down and make changes. I've said this time and time again. There needs to absolutely be a point ranking system in order to make stuff fair. You need to honor it and give a certain amount of points to where you take it away from the greedy people. You take it away from these greedy sanctioning bodies. Yes, wins and losses at that point are going to become more important. I understand that.
It sucks, but everybody's got to make their money, and everybody takes money. BoxRec, for example, I mean, they have their own rankings, but do you know you gotta pay them to basically even put that fight up there to inform these people? I mean,
right. But still, at the same point in time, if you change and evolve, you're going to get more fans. More fans is going to equate to more money. More money, more fans, a better honor system is going to equate to bigger and better fights. That all is going to equate to more money.
Yeah, but they're not thinking long term though, right, Rob? I think they're thinking about a quick money pickup, and that's that. They're not thinking on the long term, building something profitable that's gonna give a nice entertainment to the sport. They're thinking about, like, let me get as much as I can right now because I don't know how long it's gonna last. Now, I'm not sure something that I was told at one of the gyms I used to train in New York by an old coach, and I can't quote the exact words, but it was something like boxing and corruption goes hand to hand with each other since the beginning of the sport. And to me, when I don't know, he didn't say it with those exact words, but this is how I remember it, and I think it is 100% correct.
So
if
you
it's
do
not
have
the
those
officials.
people that feel that boxing was better when it was run by the mob. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're like, well, we got better results when they were running the mob, when they were running boxing. I mean, my point about WBC is, while I do not agree with some of the things they do, I do see a lot of positive things that they are trying to do. I mean, I like the 5 judge situation from the other week that I was telling you guys about, where they're gonna now start having remote judges doing the same fight cards to make sure that these fights are the right decisions. And then I saw them earlier today, actually, trying to figure out a way to change women's boxing, because they had Clarissa Shields, they had Franchon, they had Jill Diamond Chastain, which was the WBC Cares chair, and they had Mark Taffet as guests. And they were basically saying, and Mauricio is how he hosts that show. So they were basically going into how they were going to get doctors in. They wanted to do more research. They really want to make sure before they change some of the things that men are saying they don't like to watch women's fights for, Lucas. Like the 2-minute rounds instead of 3. They want to go to 3 minutes, but they said they still want to do more study with the doctors. And then they also were thinking about trying to do 12-round championship fights. So while on one side they're doing some things that are uncouth, as we like to say, because of the money, on the other side they're doing more innovative and trying to get ahead on women's boxing and trying to do things for the nonprofit sector with the WBC Cares. Then you got the judge situation where they're going to add more judges. And guys, y'all are tripping. Y'all know y'all love the way that freaking green belt looks. You sit up there and you talk shit about WBC, but you like, that's the fight. That is the one coveted belt that all the boxers want. They want that green belt.
Look.
So like you sit there and talking shit about it, but the boxers are the main one that's like, yeah, give me that belt.
And yeah, of course everybody likes the belt because that's the one Ali had.
Not only that,
You're shitting on these people.
That's the one that brings the money.
Bashing that the WBC for the last 10 minutes.
Hey.
I'm telling you, like, and if they were so much worse than the other ones, like, but we can find stuff wrong with the WBO. We can find stuff wrong with the IBL. We can find something wrong with the WBA. Like, all of them got shit that they doing, you know, to carry their money over to the next year. Like, you can't blame a WBC for being like, okay, let Canelo fight this because, hello, we ain't had many fights this year to be collecting no sanctioning off of because it's a COVID year. Now, thankfully, the zone was like, I don't want this.
I mean, and I agree with you partially, okay? I agree with you. But at the same point, I don't see or hear about the WBA just being like, you want to fight who and for our title? Okay. This is the first time I've heard of anything like this. And they basically said he can do what he wants. He's a franchise champion. Yeah, they do some good stuff.
They doing it, but they doing it differently because they're manipulating the ranking system.
And they do some good stuff.
WBA, you want to, okay, so we need to move him to number 2.
Right.
Yeah.
And like you said,
top 5, if they pay these sanctioning fees to be on our ranking, and we can get you up there. You know, they're telling promoters that too, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
So you want to get your boxer here, well, this is how much it's going to cost for him to be added to our ranking. They all are doing it. They all manipulating it. They just ain't being as open with it as WBC is, where they have champions and Emirate champions. They're not super champions. They're not doing it like that. But nobody wants their belts as much as they want WBC's belts either.
Yeah, because let's face it, the WBC, again, has the history. We care less about the IBO, the IBF. Everybody will firmly believe that and firmly probably admit that. The WBC is more boxing. That is more us. And it feels like they're disrespecting the sport more because of it. The IBO can kind of do what they want. And we just be like, shut the fuck up. You know? But... And the WBC does good things. They have, you know, the VADA CBP program, the clean boxing program. I love the idea. I don't know if it's being upheld all that well, but I do love the idea. Now, just because they're doing some good things don't mean I'm going to just let them off the hook. You know, I'm sure Hitler gave to some needy people too, but guess what? He did some really fucked up shit. I'm not ever just going to give them a pass. And, you know, I think they should be held to a higher standard than the IBO, the IBF, WBO, WBO.
I'm just saying they're no different than these other organizations. They're just more out in the open and what is the word that they like to use in politics now? Like, you know...
Transparent. They like being transparent.
They're being more transparent about what they're doing.
And hey...
The IBF and the WBO being like, yeah, like pay this fee and we'll put you at number 12 and you only got 10. Your fight only got like 8 fights. Like this is the kind of shit that's going on behind doors with these other organizations too. We pinpoint WBC, but I'm saying like in the same token, we need to highlight the other ones too for they bullshit too.
Yeah,
I agree.
They are. They're all doing slimy shit. They're all doing slimy shit. But like you said, I think I agree with Lucas. We should.
WBC is the most known.
Yeah, and it's like 4 of them, right? The 4 main ones, right? And it's 4. Let's say it's like the 4 bad kids in school, but there's this one kid that when he gets caught, he just don't give a. You know what I'm saying? He just don't give a damn. He keeps at it. He keeps at it. He keeps at it. The other 3 at least apologize, or at least they're trying to be discreet with it. This one is like out there in the open, and we don't care. And I listen you know what I'm saying? They're doing these right things, which you know we appreciate it, and no doubt, props for that. But that's kind of like for me, it is kind of like to cover the big dirt that's happening. You know what I'm saying?
Perception too, because is Canelo not the top dog that is in the middleweight and super middleweight, you know, division right now? He is the top dog.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean anybody is gonna be like, okay, they can fight whoever they want to fight because they're top dog, and they're gonna be like, wait a minute now, is he getting that because of the value and the quality he is as a boxer? The problem comes in when we feel like it's being done for alternate reasons, like just to get paydays. So I think that's like the big difference here. Like if we just said, oh, he merits his opportunity to fight, you know, whom he wants to fight, that's one thing. But when we start adding in and we like they're just doing that for money, then it's like it seems like it's corrupt. But but I'm just saying, really, people do consider Canelo as the top dog over there. And
he's a top dog. Canelo's a top dog. The thing with the WBC will be is like, and never forget, the WBC kissing Canelo's ass, telling him that he's the franchise, he can do whatever he wants, is the same one that Canelo dropped like a bad habit when they try to put the pressure on Canelo when he won against Cotto. They say, well, you know, now you have like 20, 30 days to make arrangements to fight Triple G. Canelo dropped them. Canelo didn't want nothing to do with them. What they did, well, they kissed his ass and play by his rules. Instead of them enforcing the WBC rules as a sanctioning body, they say, well, you know, they lever themselves down and be like, well, you know, we customize your command. Your wish is my command, Mr. Canelo. Mm-hmm. So whatever you say, we do.
Whatever, yes.
Yes.
Well,
so please do not reject my bill.
It is rapid fire, so you know I always have the last say. But just to put it in perspective for you, Shakira, in a point system, Canelo versus Yildirim is like a guy at 100 points against a guy with 25.
I don't have nothing to say on that. I don't have any, I'm not saying that the matchup was good. I never said that. I'm just telling you that there's more behind it than just like, you know, they're making more money with Canelo having these, you know, this title. Because if we look at the franchise champion, it's the same as the super champion, as like that is the champion of that division. They're just calling it a franchise champion, but we all know, like, yeah, that's the real champ. Like, and that's how it is.
I mean, instead of calling a franchise champion, they should just be like, you know, we're his bitch. Basically, is what it is.
There you go.
But the other ones, they got the different titles too. They got the top dog titles. I mean,
Lucas,
it's not going to. They don't really have the real champion a lot of times.
And Lucas,
the champion is not even on their ranking. It's the whole thing is jacked up. Is what I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Lucas, you gave me an idea. The WBC can only stand for World Bitches of Canelo.
That's it. We wrapping this up. We gonna get sued. We're gonna get sued. Please, y'all. That does not represent the Heavy Bag's opinions or anything. Those are all Javi's own opinions. He owns it. Please don't sue Heavy Bag Boxing.
No.
Lucas, anything else before we turn it in?
Let's see. Clarence says franchise chicken. CJ Hooker, let the ladies go 12 rounds and the guys go back to 15. I want it, but I think people would die.
Yeah.
We already got enough deaths in boxing. I will say, though, put a 13th round in. Don't take them gloves off just yet if it's a draw. 13th round. That's what I want. And then, Clarence, this whole franchise thing makes me sick, reminds me of my ex.
Wow. Did he just bring a lady into this situation?
And guys, just before we go to rapid fire, I just want to say my colleague Rob is totally right. My opinions is not the opinions of heavyweight boxing. Whatever I say is my own opinion. So if you do have a problem with what I said, call me. If you don't have my number, you should not have a problem with me. It's simple. So that.
CJ Hooker says they need to unify the WBC, WBA, IBF, and WBO and make the individual champions the top contender for the individual title. I think the only way for that to happen is some of those to go out of business. And if they don't go out of business, for the WBC to buy up said companies. Other than that, I mean, we can just choose to ignore them. I think, like we were talking about earlier, the WBC is mainly looked at as the most because they have the deepest history in the sport. So if you want, just hold one accountable, forget about the rest, and maybe they'll just go the hell away.
Hey, Lucas is serious. But I like it when they do unification bouts where all the titles get to the same to one person because that is the undisputed champion then.
And it's nice, it is. But let's get it straight. I think we would feel the same way about just the one belt, because then you would have all these contenders, and just that one belt that would feel so much more important. And I really think like a lot of people look at MMA and they think, well, they only got one, and that's not true. It's the UFC. I think the PBC tried to do a UFC thing, and they're not doing it very well. I don't know if the PBC plans on end up making their own belts or what they're going to do there, but I think they set out originally to be the UFC of boxing, and I don't think it's really played out like they thought.
No, but they don't care at this point because they're making more money than everybody else.
Yeah. I think that about does it there, Rob.
All right, everybody. Well, again, as always, I'm your host, Robert Alexander. On behalf of the Heavy Bag Boxing, for Lucas Biggers, Javier, Shakura A. That was your show tonight. We'll see you next Tuesday.
See you guys.